It's taken me a little while, but I've gone through all of Ultraman Tiga and I enjoyed it a lot. There are 52 episodes, and that might seem like an ask. They're all about 20 some odd minutes long if you skip any commercial breaks. So it can be a quick watch for some episodes, but the fact there's 52 in the season might take a while. Um, I really enjoyed the music to the series. The monster music was great. The heroic themes were great. Uh, and I would say that overall it was a very good experience. I will say that every episode that pertained to the main plot of the ancient civilization and what ended humanity all those years in the past, those were the best episodes because they were, kind of planned out. Whereas the Monster of the Week episodes could be hit or miss. Some of them were not so great, like the vampire episode or some of the other ones. But some of them were absolutely incredible, such as I Saw Obiko. Um, but overall, the series was a lot of fun. It's really good for the first about 20 episodes. Then the next 15 or so are hit or miss. And then once you get closer to 40, it starts picking back up with a lot of the good stories. Some of the monsters are absolutely incredible looking for 90s. Well, I guess Suitmation would be the best way to describe it, with the giant monsters. Some of them looked really good, and some of them, no. But that's, if you have a really good plot on the episodes, the monsters that look really terrible, you can get past, but that wasn't always the case for every single one. Um, Now, what makes Ultraman Tiga really interesting is that it's its own continuity, so it's not part of the main Ultraman series, although the original Ultraman does show up in one episode towards the end where the main character Daigo goes back in time. But that it wasn't connected to the original series or anything, so it was kind of neat with that. There's a little bit of a background plot that you don't get until you watch the follow up movie, which I read the synopsis because I can't find it online other than to buy it, and I'm broke. So I read the plot. Basically, Ultraman Tiga was actually one of the Giants of Darkness, but he turned against the other Giants of Darkness. But his special power was he could copy other people's powers, which is why he was able to transform the different colors. So when you see Ultraman Tiga, he starts off with like a red and purple combo. Then he can go full red or he can go like this bluish color. Um, and what's explained is that he has his base form where he's got average strength and speed. Then his blue form is speed itself. And then his red form is strength, which, of course, with the higher strength, you're slower. With the faster speed, you're not as strong. So that was kind of neat. But he didn't use the blue power very often. It was mostly just when he had to fight a flying enemy. Otherwise, he was in his red form, and he used the red form when his regular form wasn't enough. So that was kind of cool. But like I said, he didn't use the other form too much, and he didn't have one where he just simply like boosted all the power combined. But maybe that's in the movie. I don't know. So the main plot is that humanity got wiped out. I think they said it was like 30,000 or 30 million years in the past by some event, which you don't know what that is until you get to the last three episodes. Basically, there was this ancient god of darkness who wiped out all of humanity, and um, that his design is literally based off of one of the H.P. Lovecraft monsters, which is the son of Cthulhu. And the different monsters and everything in the series that are pertain to like the main plot are all some of the best looking ones in the series, whereas like I said, the monster of the week or the alien invasion of the week plots, which some of those were like, why? Why are all these aliens showing up to attack Earth now? Which I get, in the original Ultraman, that whole thing was about, aliens, which, Ultraman himself was an alien. In this series, it wasn't really explained too much if the original, well, I mean, Ultraman Tiga was an alien or not. He was just a giant of light, which, when you find out that he was originally a giant of darkness and not a giant of light, there's that interesting plot line. And then the characters themselves, you have Guts, which are the main team. They work for the TPC, and they protect the Earth from dangerous events, monsters, etc. And on there you have Daigo, who is the main character. He is the one who can transform into Ultraman Tiga. And it's because he is a half human, half giant of light. So he has the ability to go full giant of light during, short periods of time. So with Ultraman Tiga, he has 3 minutes roughly of stamina where he can fight in the giant form before it has to recharge. And so when his timer has run out in the show a couple times, he just reverts back into his human form, whereas the original Ultraman would die. So that was an interesting change. Basically, maybe it was because he was a half giant of light, it didn't kill him. It just was his stamina level of how long he could stay in the form, which can be a little bit like, I'm like, is there any way to supercharge that? I don't know. Um, so besides all of that, there was a second giant who showed up in the show towards the very end. It was one of the final episodes where this guy figured out how to turn himself into one of the giants of light because he also was a half human, half being of light, and it wound up he was evil because he had darkness in his heart. So then Ultraman had to stop him, and like I said, there were some episodes that were really good, and they were the ones that involved this plot line. Of course, you had Rena, who was kind of like Daigo's love interest. They didn't really fall for each other until midway through the series, which is understandable. But then it was kind of like would they not? We don't really know. In the movie, apparently they do wind up getting married. And I know that the follow-up series is Ultraman Dyna, which I will be watching next, as I'm still waiting for Gamera, the Gamera Rebirth, to come out on Netflix. So I would definitely say if you want to download Tubi, which is a free app, you just have to deal with commercial breaks. Um, you should check out Ultraman Tiga and maybe some of the other Ultraman shows, which I will definitely be watching now that I finished Tiga. So I'm hoping that Dyna is good. Don't know. I know that there's like way more series on there than I originally thought that there were. I mean, there's probably more Ultraman series than there are Power Ranger series. And if you know how many Power Ranger series there are and how they're still making them, it's kind of like a competition. So I'm gonna go ahead and watch the next one. I would say that you should check this out if you like giant monster shows. It's good. Some episodes are absolutely great, but then there are also the episodes that aren't so great. But mostly those were between the 20s and 30s, and those were kind of like hit or miss because some of the episodes in that were really good. So, again, it's fun, it's free, and I would highly suggest checking it out.